Hello witches, wizards, and those who are yet to receive their Hogwarts school letters, welcome to my Harry Potter kitchen. This is the YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, making recipes for all of the food and drink we find inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we made 4 Hogwarts House inspired marmalades, then make sure you check out the link down below in the description to catch up. And if you're new to the kitchen and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, and you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there is a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, let's head back to breakfast. Right, so we're back to chapter 4 at Flourish and Blots, and the Weasleys are still at breakfast, so let's see what they're up to. This one isn't going to be long to our next recipe either. George has just mentioned that the books won't come cheap, Mrs. Weasley has said that they'll manage, and then Harry tries to speak to Ginny and asks if she's going to be starting at Hogwarts this year, and that's where our next recipe is. She nodded, blushing to the roots of her flaming hair, and put her elbow in the butter dish. Sounds like a pretty simple recipe, but let's see what happens. If you'd like to recreate these Hogwarts house themed butters, then all of the ingredients that you'll need and the method will be up on my website, bradleybakes.co.uk. The link is down below in the description. Today we are going to be making butter, and surprisingly it's a really easy process, and all you need for it is some double cream. But we're going to spend a little bit of extra time and create 4 Hogwarts house inspired butters, which are perfect to go on steaks, fish, or just go on bread. Take it to the next level. We're going to start off by making our toppings and our flavourings because we want to cook them off and then give them enough time to cool before we incorporate them into our butter. First up is Ravenclaw, and we're going to make a caramelised onion butter. To begin, you want to peel your red onion. Slice the onion in half, lay it down, and then continue slicing it along lengthways. Place the saucepan on a medium heat and then pour in some oil until it heats up. Add in your onions and then fry them off for 2 to 3 minutes. As they're cooking, you can also season them with some salt and pepper. Keep on moving them to prevent them from catching, and add any oil if it begins to dry out or stick. You want to carry on going for about 5 minutes, and you'll notice they go a lovely golden brown. You don't actually need to add any sugar into the caramelized onions unless you want extra sweetness, because there's natural sweetness in the red onions that will caramelize themselves. Once you're happy with the colour and the cook, you can remove them from the heat, and then I'm going to place them onto some kitchen towel so they can dry out slightly as they cool. Okay, so that is the caramelised red onions for our Ravenclaw butter done. We're going to leave this to one side on our kitchen towel just to drain off any excess liquid. And the reason that is really important is because the more you add to your butter, the quicker it will spoil. So we want to make sure that's going to be as dry and crispy as possible. That's also why I didn't add in any extra sugar, and that way our butter will last longer. Okay, so next we're going to move on to our Slytherin, and they have the classic garlic butter. Our garlic butter recipe is really easy, and there's only 2 ingredients to prep. First up is our parsley, and I've gone for flat leaf parsley, so you want to remove it from the stems and then finely chop them up. And then of course the second ingredient is garlic, so you want to peel these, pop them into a garlic crusher and press them through. Okay, so our Slytherin garlic butter ingredients are all prepped, so we're going to move on to our Gryffindor Peri sun-dried tomatoes. So for this one, again, we need to do a little bit of prep and then dry off those sun-dried tomatoes so they don't spoil our butter. Place your sun-dried tomatoes onto your chopping board and then thinly slice them. Group together and then dice them the other way. These then need to go in between 2 pieces of kitchen towel to remove any excess oil. And with that, all of our butter flavour prep is finished. Our last one is going to be Hufflepuff honey mustard butter, but there's no additional steps needed for that. So we're going to move on to making our butter. And as I mentioned at the start, this is super simple. All we're going to do is over whip some double cream, and we're going to whip it so much that all of the fat solids separate from the liquids. And then when we drain off those solids, that is what is going to give us our butter. This is also a great recipe to do if you're making something completely separate, like a dessert, and you're whipping up some cream and you accidentally over whip it. We've all been there. This is a great way, so you don't have to throw it away. Just keep on whipping it, then follow the next few steps, and you can have some fresh homemade butter to put back into your pastries, desserts, or on lightning bolt toast. Pour your double cream into a mixing bowl and whisk on a high speed until it gets lovely and thick. You want to keep on going, whisking it faster and faster as it thickens up, and then carry on even beyond where you usually would until you start to see it split. Again, you want to keep on going until you see all of those fat solids clump together. At this point, you can stop whisking and you want to drain off the liquid by pouring it into a sieve. You then want to get yourself some muslin cloth and then place the fat solids in. Hold the ends tightly and then squeeze to remove any excess liquid. As we mentioned at the start, if you have any excess liquid in there, it will cause your butter to spoil even quicker. So we want to spend a lot of time making sure we squeeze out as much as possible. A neat trick to know when it's ready is to place the muslin cloth into some ice cold water. You'll notice the white buttermilk disperse through the water, and because water and butter don't mix, you don't have to worry about it contaminating your final product. Just give it a final squeeze and then repeat this process until no buttermilk can be seen in your ice water. And that's the basics of butter done. Place this into a bowl and then we're ready to flavour it. And as if by magic, we officially have our butter. Now, a little bit of the science into how we created this. As we were whisking up that double cream, we were forcing air into it, so much air that it became unstable and our fat solids separated from our fat liquids. And this is better known as buttermilk, which you might know from your pancakes or your fried chicken. And this is great for you to use, so don't throw it away. There needs to be no waste from this recipe, and it's pretty brilliant if you are trying to make a dessert and then you force yourself to make some butter. You've got buttermilk for your pancakes the next day. It's all great. And then we strained out all of that excess buttermilk because that can make it go sour, so we're left with the pure fat solids, and that is our butter. So what we're going to do next is separate this into 4 and then flavour our butters using all of the ingredients we prepared earlier. Split your butter evenly into 4 bowls. For our Ravenclaw butter, we are going to season with some salt, and I'm using a good quality sea salt flake, so that's going to give us some nice salty flavour without the harsh texture. Stir through until well combined, and then add in your caramelised red onions. For our Slytherin garlic butter, the first step is the same, so you want to season with your sea salt flakes, stir that through, and then add in your crushed garlic and your chopped parsley. To make your Gryffindor Peri sun-dried tomato butter, season the butter with salt before adding in your sun-dried tomatoes and your Peri seasoning. And then last but by no means least, for our Hufflepuff honey mustard butter, season with salt and then add in your mustard and your honey, stirring through until well combined. If you are just going for plain salted or unsalted butter, then your butter will last in the fridge for a good month. But because we've added in different flavourings to ours, they'll probably get about 4 days to a week. But of course, when they taste this good, they won't be around that long anyway. So now they're all flavoured, we're going to use some traditional butter paddles. And these help to get a nice even shape on your butter, and they're also grooved, so that helps remove any excess buttermilk that you might have had in your mixture. But we're pretty sure we got all of ours out with the ice water trick. So I'm going to turn mine into some nice rectangles, we'll pop them into the fridge to firm up, and then when they come out, we're going to give them one final My Harry Potter Kitchen decoration. Place your butter mixture onto your board and then use the butter paddles to square it up. Start off on each side and then the top, working it until you get a nice even shape. We're going to shape these afterwards, so I've made them a slightly different rectangle shape than you might usually get for your butter block. Once you're happy with the shape, you can remove them from your board and place them onto some grease-proof paper. Complete the process for the rest of your butter flavours and then pop all of them into the fridge for half an hour to firm up. So the butter has been chilling in the fridge for half an hour and now it's nice and firm, which is going to make it really easy to cut. Of course, you can just serve it as it is, but here in my Harry Potter kitchen, we love lightning bolts. So I'm going to transform these into some lightning butter bolts. You can either use a stencil or do this part freehand. Cut your butter into your lightning bolt shapes and then place them onto your serving dish. If you have any leftover garnishes, you can also place these on top. So there you have it, our 4 signature Hogwarts House inspired butters are complete. These look amazing, trust me, they taste amazing too, and homemade butter is so easy to do, so I definitely recommend you give it a go. Let me know down below in the comments, which one of these 4 would you most like to try? Will it be the Ravenclaw caramelized red onion, the Slytherin garlic butter, the Gryffindor Peri sun-dried tomato, or the Hufflepuff honey mustard? That is all for this week's recipe. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more from my Harry Potter kitchen, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, and you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there is a brand new recipe. I'm about to tuck into some butter, and I'll see you next week. Garlic butter is my one true weakness. That is amazing. Is butter a carb?